Hi, this is the Placer Counselors coming to you from our office, and you are at home. I am Mrs. Chamberlain, and presenting today is Mrs. Garcia and Mr. Ward as well. We're going to talk to you about graduation requirements and what you guys need to do to be ready for life after high school and getting your diploma.
So one of the things we want to make sure you understand is all the GPAs that are in your areas account on your transcript. There are 3 of them. At each GPA, there's going to be a weighted on the left side and an unweighted on the right-hand side. So the left-hand GPA, what it says academic GPA, is really just looking at your A to G courses only, those courses that are on our college prep list. So they have a P on them, or they have an H or an AP course. And also some of them say DE for dual enrollment. These are the GPAs used for UC and CSU admissions. Please note that the colleges do recalculate these GPAs when you put them in your applications for UCs and CSUs because they give you honors weighting for your dual enrollment courses. But you can see the 2 GPAs up above are slightly different. For some people who've taken a lot of AP and honors, you might have a bigger difference between the 2. Next set of GPAs is your total GPA, starting from your freshman year on, accumulating everything except TAs. TAs are not calculated in your GPA. These are typically GPAs used by scholarship applications, out-of-state, private colleges. If anyone ever asked you what your GPA, your total GPA was, you would give them your total GPA. All right, so you're using that. The third one is 10th through 12th grade GPAs, and that is really used for your financial aid. Okay, it doesn't count freshman year, and they're using it when you complete your FAFSA this year, free application for federal student aid, and that gives you free money for college. If that GPA is above a 3.0, you could potentially qualify for a Cal Grant A. If it's below a 3.0, you can still qualify for a Cal Grant B, which is for students with between a 2.0 and 3.0. All right, and this gives you free tuition, covers your tuition at a UC, CSU, community college, and private schools can give up to about $9,000 for a Cal Grant. Finally, on that transcript, you'll see on the far right the credits needed for graduation. Hopefully everyone is at 240 out of 240 and only has 20 credits left. Next, you can raise your GPA. You can impact your GPA this year. One way is by repeating a class. You'll see on your transcript, if you've repeated a class, you should have an R next to the old grade. And that's the way we tell the computer to not use that GPA when they calculate. So if you had a D in freshman bio, you retake the class, you get an A, you could potentially raise your GPA between 100 and 200 points. And depending on how many classes you retake, that could make a significant difference in your GPA. And the other thing is that Cal Grant, that financial aid, they recalculate and look at your GPA after you graduate. So you have time this year to do well in your classes and raise your GPA and hopefully get to that 3.0 mark.
Okay, the graduation status is actually one of my favorite pages in Aries because it shows me or us instantly what a student still needs to graduate on their pathway to graduation. So you'll see listed on the first column are all the courses that are needed, all the subjects that are needed for graduation. And then in the first column is the credits that you need to complete those courses. Remember, every class is worth 10 credits. So you've got your subjects, you got the credits required, and then the next column, credits completed, is how many credits each student has done. So this is a sample of a senior, and it's showing all the credits that they've completed in those categories. And then that total is in the green box down on the lower left, which is the total of the credits that you've completed. The next column is the credits enrolled, and those are all the classes that you are currently in. So just remember one thing to point out, anything that you have over the minimum of the credits that are required will automatically roll into the electives total. So that's how you get up to that 100 credits of total elective credit. And that's in the blue box, which is the credits that you are in. The next column, the credits needed, since this is for seniors, anything in this column is actually something you have either not completed and it's not in your schedule. So anything at this point for a senior would be we call it an which is showing you have not met that graduation requirement. So if there is anything in this example, we have a student who still has U.S. history 10 credits needed. It's not in their schedule. They haven't completed it. It's in the big red box. As a senior, that's something you need to contact your counselor immediately because we need to address that. On the bottom left, we have the Algebra 1, which is the equivalent of Integrated 1. So if you've met that, that is a graduation requirement. The next category or box right next to that is the high school physical fitness. If this has an X, you don't need to worry about that. That was done in freshman year. Some students may have been absent that day or transferred in later years. That will not affect or impact graduation in any way. But if there's something in the red box, that will impact graduation. And we need to address that right away.
This section is the A to G readiness. So these are those 15 courses we've been talking to you about since your freshman year. A lot of them are also graduation requirements, but it's those ones that have the P's next to them. So on the left-hand side is the UC, so your UCLA, your UC Berkeley, or UC San Diego. And then on the right-hand side is those Cal State universities, Chico State, Sac State, Humboldt State, those ones. So this is your A to G readiness. You're looking for making sure that you're ready to apply to a four-year college in the fall. You need to not have anything left over in these boxes. The current means you are currently enrolled in those classes. And if there's anything else that you need, then you're going to need to contact your counselor in order to be ready to be A to G by the end of your senior year. So for example, in this column, you will see that this student is missing a visual and performing art. A little bizarre to not have had an art class, but that is the only class keeping this student not ready to go on to applying to a four-year college in the fall of their senior year. So they could go ahead and contact the counselor, make sure they are in a visual and performing art in the spring, since we're on the 4x4, and then they would have met their A to G. So currently this person is off track by one class. This is an example of a student who's off track by multiple classes. So for example, with this math class, which is missing on both sides, it's most likely the integrated 3. The world language, this student has not taken either Spanish 1 and 2 or French 1 and 2, which is what we offer here. And then the student has met the requirement here in the lab science for the CSU, but not for the UC. In our program at Placer High, that usually depicts that they are missing earth science. Earth science does count for a CSU, but it does not count for a UC. You would need to do something like chemistry or physics in spring of your senior year in order to meet that requirement. Because this person's GPA is a solid 3.29, this student could make the choice if they wanted to work hard this spring, and we could look at it as a counselor and student and see, could I get that integrated 3 into the spring for the student? And because it's like a Spanish 1-2 or a French 1-2, the student could actually enroll at Sierra College for a spring world language, and that would suffice to meet the A to G readiness in order to attend a four-year college in the fall of 2021. So if you look something like this and you've got some red on the needed column for any of these, you need to talk to your counselor if you plan on applying to a four-year college this fall. If you're planning to go to community college, you are good to go because you just need to meet those high school graduation requirements that Mr. Ward just discussed. So we want to let you know that we are still here for you. Yes, you might not see us face to face yet, but you can contact us. The best way is through email to initiate that first contact, and then we can always set up a Google Meet with you, give you a phone call. We're going to try and work on having office hours, like weekly, have a group of office hours. We have plenty of information on our counseling website, especially if you kind of troll down the left-hand bar on our counseling website. You'll see lots of bullets you can click on to get information. And then we're also sending out the Counselor Corner twice a month. Coming down the pipe for you guys is we are, for our seniors, we're going to be creating a online interactive binder with some information that you can get that we usually give to you live and in person, but we're going to make sure you get all that information you need to be ready for graduating and life after high school. So know that we are here for you. Don't be a stranger. Go ahead and send us an email or give us a call.
Bye, guys.